to use it very well. We have speech language pathologists that use it on a regular basis. And we also have a team at a high school, and we have a center-based teacher who has been using this for 5 years plus, and she has done some amazing things in creating some really fabulous objectives and making sure that the data collection works well and that it shows the right kind of data. So I'm going to do my best to walk you through what I do know. I'm sure I will forget something. Please ask questions along the way. It's going to be very informal. So just for the purpose of giving you this information today, I thought it might be best to create a website. So this website is only used for this purpose. So it's a mock website for the most part. I think Chris is going to share the website URL with you through the chat room. So hopefully, let's see. Let me ask first, can everybody see my screen? If you can't, if you could raise your hand or let us know through the chat, that would be great. Oh, let's see, do something here. Oh, thanks, Edie. So let me know if you can't see it, because I'm going to go ahead and just kind of walk you through what's on this website so that you can use this as a resource going forward after today. So I have 4 tabs up here at the top. How to make forms for data collection is really all the how-tos. I have YouTube videos that you can click on to go to, and then down here is a Google Form cheat sheet that is pretty handy. The one thing, I'm sure if you guys use Google Forms on a regular basis, you know that they constantly are making updates and changes and making it better, which is many times fabulous, but sometimes it throws us for a loop because they make changes and we're not quite sure how to go about it. So this is the current cheat sheet for using Google Forms. So we're going to walk through creating a form today. So you may want to print this. You can also get a digital copy if you click on this link here. All right, I just want to make sure that I don't ignore the chat. Oh, all right. Chris just shared the Google site. If you want to bookmark that for a later date, feel free. And then this document is the tutorial that I had put together for the SWAAAC Symposium Roundtable. It has some screenshots in it. And then the next 2 on the screen are video tutorials from, I can't remember her name, somebody who has done a lot with Google Forms and data collection, and that's her video tutorial. She has some hyperlinks on her tutorial that will walk you through how to do it as well. And then, let's see, that is all for that link. So then sample forms, I'm going to take a minute to load. Sorry, everyone. Very slow. So here are some what I would call templates. A couple of them I created just from IEP goals that we have used as speech language pathologists in our district. I forgot to say I am from Littleton Public Schools. And then some of them I just pulled off the gallery, the template gallery through the Google Forms. And I think that's going away soon. So I tried to put as many as I could that relate to tracking student progress. And then, let's see. Oh, and then down here I just put an example of how you could use a QR code, directions for how to link the Google form to the QR code so that if you have a discrete trial center or some type of one-on-one where you have students work on objectives, you could put the QR code and then have different staff be able to access the Google form through the QR code. And then the second link is a QR code extension that you can use from the WebStorm. All right, any questions about this page? No? Okay, please feel free to interrupt me. And then this tab just shows you how, once you complete a form and people have put information into your form, what it looks like in a Google Sheet. And we'll talk about that, and I'll show you that from a form that we will create. And then I decided I better put this on here too, because the sample data forms here show what a data form looks like as a developer of the form, whereas if you have somebody who's just going to respond and use the form to collect your data, this is what it would look like on this page. So that's kind of the gist of the website. Let's see, I think it might be easiest and best for us to go ahead and create a form. Does anybody have questions about the website? Thank you for the head shake, that's helpful. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open the data form. All right, I'm gonna say we want a new form. So this is the way I get to forms. You can also click on your waffle and go to forms that way. Either way works. Let's see. Okay, so I am currently working with a student at a high school who is a device user, and he just started the links curriculum. So I took some of his objectives from what we are doing, and so I thought I could show you how I would create a form based on his links lessons. So first thing you're going to do is title your form. So I'm going to say the student is Joe. So we have Joe's labeling objectives. And if I type it in at the top left, then it shows up here. So you don't have to retype that. A form description, sometimes what I'll do, or I know other people have done, is put any information that might be helpful when completing these objectives, especially if they're new objectives. So I know this student requires pretty specific prompting levels. So I would want to make sure that I let them know that they need to talk with the SLP or the teacher about prompting levels before completing form. Okay. And then you can see here that these are the questions, and then this is where you would see the responses. We're not going to do responses yet. So we're just on questions. So the first question, I always recommend that you want to have the first name of the person completing the form. And then over here under this drop down, you can decide what you want it to be. Short answer, and in this case for first name, short answer would be appropriate. And then if I needed to specify any further directions, I could click on, I call this the snowman down here with the 3 dots. So you can click on the snowman, and then you could add the description if you needed to. In this case, we don't need the description. So I'm going to take it off. And then I'm going to, can you guys all see this? All I can see is your faces. Let me get rid of this. There's this add question, so the little plus. So click on the plus. Another kind of common question or field would be date. And there's a date in the drop down here. And click on date. I usually do not make that a required question, because usually when they're filling this out, it will be the date they're actually working on the objective with the student. If for some reason it's a date other than the objective, I might type a description here that says date required only if reporting data from a previous day. Okay, and then it gives you the month and day. All right. Probably, sorry, let me go back. A first name, I would make that a required question because I want to know who's reporting the data so that if I have any questions about it later, I can go back and ask them. All right, so in the next question, some people like to have the time of day. It could be helpful in the case the student, he tends to have a better time right after lunch than other times of day. So I might be interested in seeing what the data looks like at a certain time of day. So I would choose my data to be, I'll move my toolbar here, that's time. And again, I would not make that a required question. And I could add a description if I wanted to, but for this purpose, I'm not. Okay, now we can get into the bulk of why we're doing this. So we are working on labeling nouns, people, and actions. So I have an objective for each of those. So the first question would be, Joe will label nouns by using his device to express the name of the noun when given the cue. What is this? Okay. And I may or may not want a description. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to add a description. So this is where, when you're writing your objectives, you need to be careful about what kind of data you really want people to be taking. This is where you would want to carefully choose whether you want a short answer, if you want them to write down a whole paragraph of information.
Hey, Cassidy, how are you?
If it's multiple choice, checkboxes, drop down a linear scale.
Oh, good.
Grid. Okay. So let me just give you one way of doing it. I would say probably checkboxes could be helpful in the situation. I might want to know if when they do this activity with him, if he's 10 to 50% accurate. And then I'm going to add another option. And I just click where it says option. And maybe I want to know if he's 60 to 70% accurate. And then maybe my last one would be 80 to 100% accurate. And that's all I would need for those checkboxes. And then I would not make that a required question, just in case it doesn't happen that day. Again, I could show the description if I needed to. I'm not going to shuffle the order. A lot of these are in here just to make sure that if kids are doing this as quizzes, they're not cheating off the person beside them, so they can shuffle the order. Let's see. I'm going to show you one more. So some people I know will just put if they're the only ones filling it out and they know that they're going to just type in an accuracy, and they don't need a checkbox. If they're not having a group of people doing it, you may not need all three choices, and maybe just as appropriate to do a short answer. One of the ways that I think it might be helpful in situations like this is to use the multiple choice grid. So let's say he will label using a device. Label people by answering who is this, in reference to picture of community members, familiar people, and classmates. Okay, so let me show you what multiple choice grid can do for you. So you have rows and then you have columns. So I would like to know like the data to be broken up. So I want to know how he does with community members. How he does with familiar people. Oh, sorry, can't spell today. Can't spell when I'm having people watch me type. And classmates. Okay, and then in the different columns, I would put maybe he's, I could use the same type of accuracy if he's 10 to 50% accurate. Maybe I want to know, maybe I only want to know if he's at least 90%. So let's say this is 60 to 80% accuracy, and then 90 to 100. Okay. And I'm not going to make this a required question or required response per row. You might not do it all every day. I may or may not want a description to help people understand this one. And I don't want to limit one response. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Maybe I do want to limit one response per column. All right, so let me show you what it looks like from a respondent's end. So these buttons up here, these are your add-ons, and you can use add-ons through the Google Chrome store. You can find add-ons. I have really only found a couple of add-ons helpful in my case: email notifications of forms and form notifications. Other teachers may feel differently and may have other add-ons that are helpful. So please, if you use add-ons, please share, because it seems like they're adding more all the time. This is where I can make this form a little bit more exciting. So I'm going to go here. I know that this student, let's see. I know he loves the American flag, and I'm pretty sure I've seen the American flag in here before. Where? What's he doing, maybe? All right, we're going to just say that he likes basketball. I do know he likes basketball, so it changes it a little bit. Personalize it and not be quite so boring. But then this is what it looks like when you send this to other people to fill out. So the respondents or users of the form. So there's a required asterisk by the first name, and that's the only place that you see that. And then this is what the multiple choice grid looks like. So for community members, how is he doing? For familiar people, how is he doing? And then classmates. And one thing I forgot to add to my form, let me go back. Oh, I see. Let me just see if I have a question. The add-ons are not visible in your form. I think, oh, never mind. I wonder if the add-ons are they separate for everyone? They may be personal to you. If you know, Edie, will you respond to that? I'm not sure if it's, I think it's, oh, I was in the hand of it. Okay. One thing that I think is helpful, especially for a lot of our students who have multiple challenges, is to add a comment section. And I will usually, especially if you're having other people complete this and the data that day is really terrible and you're not sure why, if you add comments like, please list things like went home sick in the afternoon, or spoke to mom and he didn't sleep well last night. Those types of things are really helpful when you're trying to analyze data and the data doesn't seem to be going along the way you would hope. This information that you can add to the end of a form, I think, is quite helpful. Okay, so that is what a form looks like, and that's how you complete it. And then let's do this. Let's go to the actual form as a, let me delete this one. So I'm going to click on my preview button. Look at chat real quick. It was in the hamburger, the 3 dots next to the send button. Okay. So she's talking about these, the snowman, or the hamburger, so people call it the snowman. She's talking about these, and this is where you can get add-ons. So you can get add-ons in several places. If you go to the web store, I think you can get them there, but then you can also get the add-ons right here. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to stay on track here, which is not one of my strengths. Okay, so if I go to preview, and let's fill this out so you can see what it looks like. I'm not going to fill that out because it's today, and I'm going to say he was 60% accurate. And I only did classmates today, and he is new to this class, so he's, oh, and I forgot to delete that. I forgot to put the right option. So we're going to put submit. All right, now when I go back, I have one response here, so I can click on responses. And you can see what my responses were, and it's going to give you a nice visual and a visual here to show the different columns. And then if you want to look at it in a Google Sheet, you click on the icon that indicates Google Sheets. Go ahead and say create the spreadsheet. So you have an option to create a new one, or if you want to add it to an existing spreadsheet, you can do that. If you have other forms on this same student, you may want to add it to an existing spreadsheet. But for this purpose, I'm going to say that we're going to create a new one. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you guys can see on your end all the information I'm getting about still loading. It's working. It'll be, now I have about 8 tabs open. Okay, so now from here what you can do is you can look at the form and it'll show the summary of responses. So there's not much information here, but you can imagine over a month period that this would give you a lot of great information. So this is what it looks like when you go to summary of responses. And it even tells me how many responses all this data includes. Let's see what else there's. So the one add-on that I like in the sheets is called Save as a Doc. So if you are not very familiar with Google Sheets or Excel, which that describes me. I'm not very handy with creating a lot of formulas to make Google Sheets really useful, so I would just prefer to have information in a Google Doc. So here you can save all this information into a Google Doc and use it that way. AutoCrat is something I know a lot of staff use. I don't use it, so I can't be very helpful with that one, but that one may be something to look into if you have a lot of students that you're keeping data on. Let me just make sure there's nothing else to talk about in here. Oh, so here you can share the responses. So if you have a principal or a classroom teacher or a parent who would like to see the data, you can use the share button here. One of the other, I'm going to go back to the form that I am editing. I can, this is an important thing too. So under settings, you want to make sure, like if I clicked this one, it would restrict the form to only users in the LPS domain. So if you are sending this to possibly private people who you would like them to take some data on how they're doing at home, or if a parent, or even a student who is maybe homebound or not doesn't have a school email, make sure that this does not get clicked. Otherwise, they won't be able to access the form. And then you can go through and see what the other options are here. I don't use presentation or quizzes. I'm sure there are applications for it. It's just not something that I have found that I needed when I'm creating a form for data collection. And then you may want to let them edit after they submit it. They're probably think about it and then they decide later that they needed to add a comment. So you may want to allow an edit after they submit. So that is settings. And then this is a very helpful tool. If you want to add collaborators, if you are a case manager of a student and you add objectives for the whole IEP, but you want to make sure that you have put in the right types of questions or tips under the description, you can add collaborators here so that if you have SLPs or OTs that you need their input from, they can do it and be on the same form and be able to provide the right type of information on each of the Google forms. Let's see. Oh, so the make a copy tab is helpful. One of the things that you'll see under, let me go back to the website just a moment. I need to close out the beginning tab. So if you think of all of these sample data forms as templates, and let's say, I'm going to go into Jason's communication objectives. So I have a lot of students that could probably use these same types of objectives, asking for help, asking for more, and asking for something different, and asking for a break or something to be all done. So I would come up here, I would say make a copy. And then I could say, you know what, I'm going to also use this for Jill. So now I have, and I want to share it with the same people because they work with her as well. And then I have the same, I would have to go through and change the name, obviously, in each one of the questions. But then I would have an easy way to use those same objectives with other students without having to recreate. If you work with counselors or psychologists, there's a nice ABC data form in here that was a template in the gallery that I grabbed. that I thought could at least be a starting place. Quite lengthy, and they used a lot of checkboxes, which maybe you could just use a text field instead of a checkbox, but a place to start anyway. Okay, so let me look, what's next? I think that covers most of it. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer, or think of anything that I left out to talk about? I work with kids with autism a lot, so my wait time is really good. Although it is a little intimidating staring at my screen and seeing it. Nobody? No questions? No thoughts? Concerns? Hello? Somebody have a question?
If we want to, then it'll still show games videos for that. So
Yeah.
We can still go.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if that was meant to be.
So the website is.
How does a student consciously work with Google? In our district, we have a domain, and so it is confidential. There's protection against all the information. They do a lot of, I can't think of the name. They do a lot of, what's that called, where they block things in the cloud. I don't think there's as much confidentiality when, not that I don't think, I know there's not as much confidentiality when you just create a Google account when it's just a Gmail. But through the school district, there are a lot of precautions. Do you allow parents to gather data and share with the team using forms? I have not personally done that. I have heard that other people do that, and it's a case by case. Because you are having the parent complete the form, it's easier to see the discrepancy, if there is discrepancy, between home and school, which often we know there is. Oh, can you type questions and answers? It is hard. Oh, I'm sorry. Forms specific to EL students. I don't have any. I'm trying to think if I know of anybody in our district who uses Google Forms specifically for English language learners. And I don't know of anybody off the top of my head, but if you want help creating a form using some objectives that you already have, I'm happy to help with that. So, like I said, I'm certainly no expert, but I think data collection using Google Forms is so helpful. It gets everybody on the same page, and it really forces you to write very clear, specific, measurable goals. Okay, so someone said, can you type questions and answers? It is hard to hear. Is it hard to hear me? If it is, I'm really sorry. I wish I would have known that earlier. Just waiting for any more questions. Chris, is there anything else you would like me to share? Oh, I'm sorry that your connection is not good. If you get on the website and you have questions, you could certainly email me. That's something that's not even on my website, I don't believe, but let me give you, okay, I just put my email address. If anybody wants to email me with any questions or advice, that would be great. You're welcome, Chris. It went very quickly. I hope that I answered everybody's questions. I do have one question. One thing that I think would be helpful is on a Google form, if, let me see if I can share a form so I can explain that. So it would be great. Can everybody still see my, yeah, okay, sorry, I stopped mid-sentence. See my screen. It would be great if there was a way, like after this word incorrect, if I could add a text box so that I could explain incorrect, student through the device, and now we're done for the day or something. So it would be nice if after some of these either multiple choice or check boxes or drop downs, if there was a text box that I could put. Does anybody know if that is an option or have heard that maybe that is coming? Okay, well, maybe if we all contact Google and ask for that, it'll be in their next update.
Michelle, I haven't heard that that's coming, but I was wondering if you could add like on the last choice, you could just say other, and then you can make a note in the other section. They can type in any notes, any comments that they have.
Like right here where it says add option. I don't think if you have this as a drop down, you can add a text box here.
Oh, okay.
Which would be a good option too. One of those, but maybe there is a way to do that. If somebody knows about how to do that, that would be great. I haven't figured that out.
Okay.
Just to stay on the Google topic for anybody else who's still around, Shakeup Learning, I think is what it's called. Let me just look at my email really quickly. It's a great resource for anything Google. And they send emails. I think it's called Shakeup. Let me look. Shakeup Learning. So she is a Google certified trainer, and she offers a lot of great information regarding changes in Google. That's how I often find out if there are any changes to the way Google Docs, Sheets, or Forms look. So that's another tip that could be helpful. Anybody else have any Google tips and tricks that they know about that they want to share? No? Okay, well, if anybody has any other things that they learn and can share with Chris, I think she can get the word out to everyone. If I come up with any answers to a text box next to some of the options under multiple choice or checkboxes, I will let Chris know so she can send that out.
Thank
Oh, so you can add other. Looks like Alexis found that. Okay, so the respondent can type in any comments if the drop-down style question is used. Okay, so boxes and multiple choice. Let me go back and try that. So, oh, not drop-down. Okay, but this one I should be able to do it. Add other. Oh, other. Thanks, Alexis. That's helpful. So if you are a really advanced user, I know this is far from my ability, but you can put in page breaks and go to next section. So if somebody answers incorrect request, or if you want to put something more, you can make it go to another page, and then you can ask further questions about it, but that's beyond my scope of understanding and how to use forms. People that are experts at forms do that quite well. That's beyond my ability. So if you feel ambitious, I think it's a fabulous tool and functionality that Google Forms has. I haven't mastered that yet though. All right. I think we're done. Chris, is there anything else you want me to talk about? Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Bye.